crafty little things. This is day 3 of our easy craft fair scrap buster projects. And what have we got for you today? What haven't we got for you today? Look at all this lot. I've been very busy, and I just want to say that I got very busy just using up my scraps. I thought I had a big clear out and tidy up, and I put all my scraps into big piece of cardstock, small piece of cardstock, big piece of DSP, small piece of DSP, and I just sat on my desk and I just went for it, and I made all of these lovely things. Now what today's project is a gift wallet, and the idea is it's just a thin little wallet. These are all made in this exactly the same way. A thin little wallet with a gusset in it. You can see there's a little gusset there, a little concertina that opens up a bit. And its purpose really is to hold money, if you gift money at Christmas, or to hold, sorry I've got glue all over my hands, or to hold gift cards, you know, the little gift cards that you can get, or if you gift cards yourself or gift vouchers, you know, from your craft business. A lovely little thing to pop them in instead of just sending somebody a piece of paper. Yeah, they can hold little sets of gift tags if you wanted to. They could hold little pieces of jewellery. They could hold thin wax melts. They could hold all sorts of things because they have got some depth to them. There's a little concertina in there. So I just wanted to show you some examples, because obviously what I'm doing here in this series is I'm showing you sort of a basic design and giving you some ideas for you to run with from that. So these are just, I'm going to show you the basic one when I do the tutorial, and these are some ideas of how you could tart it up a little bit. So with this one I've just added a little wreath. I've used a little scrap DSP. This is a 4x8 piece of DSP, and you often have 4x8s left over or 4x12s left over if you use a lot of 8x12s for projects, which I seem to do. And what I do with my strips of Whisper White and whatever that are left over, I just stamp sentiments randomly, and then I just have them near me when I'm on one of these craft math sessions, and I just you can see I've just used a selection of stamps. I've used Whisper White and Very Vanilla, and I've just used a selection of inks, and I've just pop, stamp them down and then cut them out, mostly with the Pretty Label Punch, because I think the Pretty Label Punch serves two purposes with these. I think it looks nice, plus it also acts as a closure for some of them, so it's quite useful for that. And when you're doing things for craft fairs, you don't necessarily want to be faffing forever, so a punch is always a good idea. It saves time, whereas a die cut-in might, you know, take you a bit longer. So if you were just making one of these for somebody or a couple, for friends or whatever, then take longer over them and use die cuts and make them more fancy and whatever. But if they're for craft fairs, keep them nice and simple, make them easy to make for you, easy for your customer to see what they are, and make a nice variety. So that's this one. This one's using, and that's using the, I think it's using the Christmas Around the World DSP. Yeah, it is Christmas Around the World DSP. And then I've just got a bit of crumb cake in Whisper White there, and it's just stamped on with cherry cobbler. This one, I love this one. This is using a bit of discontinued ribbon. In fact, this ribbon was on something that someone sent me. I think it was from last year's celebration, or this year's celebration, a metallic ribbon. It's really nice, and it looks really nice against the pop of the, it's a bit untied on the back because I'm just doing it for demonstration, but I would normally glue that nicely. Yeah, it looks nice against the old olive, and this is using the Merry Music, I think it's called, and again a black scrap, printed it with black onto Whisper White, and that, obviously that's slightly bigger. You could even get like Sorry, I'm still full of cold and I've still got this cough. You could even get like bars of chocolate in these if you made them the right dimensions, or for smaller bars of chocolate. Or, you know, you could put like a tea bag in there and one of those, you know, those mini bars. Oh, they'd be nice. This is more, I mean, and this is, I think this is probably suitable for a man. We can't assume that men don't like glitter and they don't like glitz, because I know some men who love glittery, glitzy, sparkly. They love candles. They've got beautiful homes, you know, with gorgeous interior decor. So it's not, it's a bit wrong of us to assume that men are all about oil and grease and cars. So yeah. Then this one is very sort of, it's good for a male, I guess. I love this pattern, and this comes from the Painted Autumn, and I just love it. I mean, it's really, really nice. It sort of reminds me a bit of an African kind of tribally print, and I love that. And I've just used very vanilla here. Most of these just close with an envelope or a Velcro fastening, okay? This one is using the speciality, I think it's the Seasons of Cheer, which is beautiful, and it's just really simply tied with a bit of Whisper White. There's no need to do anything else for that paper. It's just so gorgeous. And to me, I did put a label on it, and then I thought, you know what, I'd rather just write inside the flap, because that paper's so pretty, you just don't want to cover it up. And the same really goes for this, which is the Foil Frenzy, I think it's called, the stack. This is in the regular catalogue. This is Crumb Cake again, very vanilla, and I've just used it in different ways. It's a little bit, got a little bit of glue on because I got a little bit covered in glue. I did this on a time lapse for an Instagram challenge, and I got covered in glue. Which reminds me, it was another one of those occasions where I had a Tombow that was empty, and I turned it, I thought, oh, let me just check again. I turned it the other way, and there was tons left in the other end. And that's happened to me a few times now. So always do check, and I always store my Tombow upside down, but for some reason some gets stuck in this end, and there was tons of it. On the time lapse you see it squelch out all over the place. Yeah, so that's, again, that's really simple, speaks for itself. Although I might put a little handle on that one. This one is, again, Christmas Around the World. It's so simple, just real red. I've used a retired ribbon here. Great time to use up your stash and your scraps and your retired stuff. Old olive here to go with that. Here, oh look at this, cute. I've got it upside down, and I've got it a bit out of line, this one, but it's using a retired Presents and Pine Cones DSP that was on the clearance rack, going really cheap. So again, clearance rack to make those savings so your projects aren't costing you a lot to make. A little bit messy stamping there, and then I just added a couple. I used some Stampin' Up Cherry Cobbler, Baker's Twine, and added a couple of Jingle Bells. Oh, so cute. This one I made a mistake with, which I'm not going to point out. If you can spot it, you can let me know what that is. But I thought, why not throw a few on the craft stall that are not for Christmas gifts, so for birthdays and things, and then people might pick them up for later on in the year, or for people who have birthdays around Christmas. My dog that's whimpering and whining in the background and scratching at my leg, he has a birthday coming up on the 21st of December. So yeah, throw a few birthday ones on your craft store, because, you know, people might buy them. And like I said, I'm not going to point out what the obvious mistake was there. This one I just made a little loop. I just thought it was cute to make a little loop. If you were making small ones, you might be able to hang them on your tree even. If you're making small Christmas ones for guests who are coming around. Sorry about the dog. I have no idea what's wrong with him. He's just going mad. And then finally, I made this one. Oh, I forgot to stick that down. I made this one. I used a bit of gold twine just to make the a little handle for it. This is using the it's in the regular catalogue. It's the, oh, I'll link it below, but it's lovely speciality foiled paper. I want to say Blessed, or it's like a baby sort of shower paper, but anyway, I used the Petite Petals punch just to punch out, and again this was just because I had tiny scraps, so it was great for punching those out, making a little flower embellishment. I did mean to stick a glimmer dot, a multifaceted glimmer dot in the middle of each of those, and I totally forgot to do it, but yeah, that's something you can do. And I thought the sentiment could go there. It would even look nice if you gold embossed the sentiment, and this would be nice for a Christmas present, but it would also be nice for to gift vouchers and stuff for weddings as well. So again, have a couple on your store, because there might be people who are going to a winter wedding who will buy them. So yeah, they're all made the same way. So we'll get on to the actual tutorial now, and I'm sorry if you've stuck around and you're bored and you just want to see how they're made. I will put a note, I will put a caption telling you where to jump forward to, so you can avoid that happening. So hopefully you spotted that and you haven't seen this, and if you haven't seen this then you can't hear what I'm saying, so there's no point in me saying it. Just a little note, this was using a retired, I think I've already said that. I was thinking I'd used a green one somewhere, but I haven't. Right, so I'm going to get on now and show you how to make one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one, these are all made from cardstock. I'm going to make one from DSP, and I'm also going to make one from DSP that I've stamped myself. Okay, so I'm going to make two actually, very quickly, because they're very, very easy to make. And I hope these have given you a little bit of inspiration. Okay. Hi, welcome back. We're going to make these wallets now. The first one I'm going to make, I'm going to use some self-stamped Whisper White, which I've stamped using Pool Party, Dapper Denim and Soft Sky. And you need a piece that measures 4 by 8 inches and two pieces that measure 3 by 2 inches. I've also got a sentiment here. This, by the way, this stamp came from Add a Little Glitz stamp set, and so did the label, I think. Yeah, so did the sentiment. And then I'm going to use a bit of Pool Party ribbon on this one as well. So where you need to score, you score at 1/2 inch. I've already done it, so you score at 1/2 inch, 3 1/2, 4, 7 and 7 1/8. Okay, just on the long side, that's it. And then on your small pieces on the long side, you score every 1/2 inch. So 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1 1/2, 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1 1/2, and that's it. And then you just burnish your score lines. Just be careful with this one where you've got these two really close together. This is just to give you a little bit of depth at the top of your wallet, so it's not totally flat. Okay, and now just burnish these as well. Fold down the outside, just concertina them. Some people make a bit more fussy about doing these. I just do them as they come. So I just fold down the outside one, fold up, fold down, and then my two outside ones end up folded down like that, and that's what you want. Right, now this end here, I'm just going to fold it over, so I'm just going to clip off the corners. You don't have to do this, you don't even have to fold it over. I just do it because it just leaves a tidier finish, I think, and that's why I do it. Now if you wanted to add a magnet closure here, you could pop your magnet in now and then fold it over I'm not going to put a magnet closure in. I'm going to leave that to your imagination. And I'm just going to tie mine up with a ribbon. As I said before, I like to sort of just show you how to make something and let you roll with it. Now and again I will do projects where you could follow along exactly. Right, I've just put a tiny bit of Tombow and along each edge on the inside of my work. And now I'm going to get my little pieces like this, and I like to have this first edge here on the outside, so I'm going to stick this down and I'm going to put it between this, if I've got my two tiny close together score lines on the left, I'm going to put it between the second of those coming this way and the next score line. Okay, and I'm going to do the same with the other one. I'm going to get this piece and I'm going to make that on the outside. It just gives you a nice finish off on the outside, that's all, when you have that bit on the edge. Otherwise you have the raw edge of this showing, which doesn't matter, and I've probably done that on some of mine. Then I just push this down. Remember, you have got 1/2 inch here, so it's not a case of squashing it flat. It's a case of folding it over, letting that score line find the bottom of the pieces on this side, keeping them lined up. They should stay nicely lined up anyway. And then you can just press up gently with your fingers to let that first contact take place with that glue, and then just really gently press. I wouldn't go crazy and burnish like mad and press like crazy, because you might slip, things might slip, and then everything will go out of kilter. So you can always go back later and press like crazy, and I would always recommend that. Now if you wanted to, you would have added, if you want to just chuck a gift card in here or some money, that's it. You could add a little wallet in there to slide it into, but to be honest, I don't see the point. I just pop the gift card in, and then you can either have the tag on the inside with the gift card, or you could write across, leave this blank and write across here, or you can write on the back of a tag, or not bother having anything to write on because you're giving it, so it's obvious who it is who's given it. Right, so these corners, you can either round them off with your back of your envelope punch board. I'm just going to cut mine off because I just think they look better, sort of cut off a little bit. And then if I was adding a magnet, I'd glue the magnet on here now, because that one would be stuck inside. I'd stick the magnet on to see where it's stuck, and then I'd pop a glue dot on the back of the magnet, and I'd close my flap, lift it off again, and then stick a little bit of paper, probably stick a strip of paper across my magnet there to conceal it. I'm not a big fan of magnets because I think they're a bit dangerous. And also they, you know, it's an expense you don't necessarily need if you don't want. You could add you could put on a Velcro dot. Some of mine have got Velcro dots there. You could punch a hole through and tie ribbon through, or a couple of holes through. It's totally up to you. In fact, that's what I'm going to do with this one. It wasn't what I was going to do with this one, but it is now. So I'm just going to get my big crocodile. I'll keep it on the small hole just to going to set my guide so that, whoa, help if I set my guide where it needed to be, wouldn't it? Right, obviously you'd measure this. I've done it by eye and I think I've done okay. You can put eyelets on. I've got some gorgeous silver star eyelets that would look fab on this. And then you can thread your ribbon through. Hooray, at last. And now I'm just going to tie that up. Tie my bow the wrong way round. And then trim that off. And then it's up to you if you use dimensionals to stick it on, or if you tie it to your ribbon. If you want to write on the back, the best thing to do is to tie it to your ribbon. So punch a hole through it. I'm not even going to start punching holes, and do it like that. But there we go. And that's a lovely cute little wallet that was made using your own stamped DSP. That's so cute. Do you reckon? Lovely. Now I'm going to make the larger version. I don't know whether to split this video into two or what. I think I'll make the larger version now. So for the larger version, I'm using this Christmas paper. I'm going to use this side because I like it. It's not really directional because they're all laid in different directions. I've got my two pieces here. And for this one, I punched out a cherry cobbler star and I glued onto it this sentiment, which comes again from Add a Little Glitz, and I stamped it in cherry cobbler and onto Whisper White. Just going to use the other side of the envelope punch board and round off these corners on this one. Just show you a few different things. I'm going to do the same on those because they're going to be on show this time. Last time they were in the they're inside, so this time they're going to be on show. And again, it just gives a little bit of a finish to it, rather than a raw edge. You can have a raw edge. If you've got scraps that will only allow you to have a raw edge, then go with the raw edge. So I'm just going to glue that down on the opposite side using Tombow. Didn't think it was going to stick then. Yeah, and then if you are going to add panels of paper like I have for this one, only on the front, and for this one, then you're probably better off adding them now before you start putting it all together. Okay, but I'm not going to do that because I'm not adding any panels. Now, same thing again. Glue down the inside from one end to another, and then use it so that this outside is that way round, and pop that just below the second of those close together score lines and up to the first score line of your base. Again, if I was to stick it like that, so that side was, that's what I'd sort of get from the outside. I'd see things I don't want to see, and also make sure that you put it the right way round. Unless you do want the contrast, you might want the contrast in your concertina bits, gusset, whatever it's called. I can't say gusset without hating it, because I had a friend, I can't remember who it was, who just hated the word gusset. It used to make her feel sick. and it never bothered me, but now every time I say it I just think of how much somebody hated it, and I can't even remember who it was. Just hated the word. And then just press down. Like I say, press gently with your bone folder rather than going crazy at it. You can crazy at it later. I thought I'd picked up a little straggler there. Just picked up a little. That's why it's always a good idea to just get your bits and bobs out of the way. You can pinch it down to a certain degree, but once you get to near the bottom, you'll lose that little bit, and it will stick to that bit of glue that went across the bottom as well. So there you go, that's a nice larger size, and you can fit all sorts in there. Again, you could put little envelope, little holders in there if you wanted for gift cards or whatever. And that's nice, a nice size. And then your lid will just close over nicely because you've given that little bit. If you are going to put something thick in there, like a bar of chocolate or something, give yourself a bigger gap here. You could actually do half, with the same measurements, you could do ½ an inch. You'd still have ½ an inch to overlap, or you could make it up 8.5 long and give yourself ½ an inch there to make it more of a box than a bag. I think I did that. This was a prototype I did, and that's what I did there. So you might want to do it more like that. Give yourself ½ an inch there. But it opens up quite big, that one. This one's got 3-inch pieces in each side. That's the only difference. If you want me to show you how to make a bigger one like that, then I'll show you if it's not clear. Right, so my sentiment could be used as a closure on this, because it could be popped on and then the flap just go behind the sparkle, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put my ribbon on. I'm using a silver trim ribbon here. I'm going to pop my ribbon on. I'm going to do it so it ties at the top. And then I'm going to stick my sentiment to my ribbon with a glue dot. This is the good thing about craft fairs. You can make some the same. You could make like 2 of these out of 1 piece of DSP, so, or more if you did the smaller size. And then you can just make totally different ones. So you get to really use your creativity and really use up your stash as well. Oh, that's so pretty. And then I'm going to just get a glue dot, mini glue dot, whatever it's called. My little pokey tool thing, I've left it in the other room where I do my die cutting, because I've got myself my little die cutting station in there where all my dies are, and my embossing folders and everything's there. My big shot, my drawers there full of bits I need, and so I do that in the other room. And there you go. You might not like that. You might like it without the bow, without the sentiment. Like I said, what you could do is just I don't know if I've got any in the bottom of my box here. Sometimes I have, but you could just fasten a tag onto there now. So you could just use something like that, make a hole in it and fasten it on. Let me just, in fact, I do have a little tag here, so I could show you that. You're going to have to imagine that's in the middle, because obviously it's not, because I wasn't supposed to be doing this. And then you could just write on the back there, so you could just pop a hole in there, pass the ribbon through there. You could pop a hole, or you could use a ribbon. I've got a ribbon punch, and just thread it through, and that would look really nice as well. Obviously print it out in a, possibly in a same sort of colour. So there you have it. That is me done and dusted on this project. If there are any of these, I'll put them all on my blog post. And if there are any of these that you would like to see me specifically make, any of the sizes, or like we said with that, like we said with that deep one, this was only put on temporarily because I just wanted to show it as an idea. Like I said with the deep one that's got the 3-inch, you know, the 1/2-inch lid and the 3-inch gusset, that word again, then do let me know. Obviously if you saw the previous, the introduction to this video, you'd have seen the glaring error that I'd made there. If you want to see how to stick on the jingle bells, if there's anything you want me to show you, anything you're not sure of, just give me a shout anywhere you like on any of my social media, and I'll do what I can. Like I said, put some multifaceted glimmer dots in there, I think. I'm just going to manoeuvre that into the middle of the shot so that I can use that as my thumbnail, because it's lovely. Okay, and you can fix handles on, you can do whatever you like, and imagine how lovely they're going to look all around your craft stand display. Going to look lovely. Okay, tomorrow we've got an even easier project, and it's really fun, and it's a proper stash scrap buster tomorrow. So if you've got your scraps hanging about, come and join me, and you need lots of 6x3 pieces. That's the only clue I'm giving you. Thanks for joining me, and do go check out, on Instagram I'm taking part in Made Local Month on Instagram, which is a challenge run by Joe Made at the Lock. Is it Made at the Lock? Yeah, I think it's at Made at the Lock, and she's doing a challenge where you have to just post a picture every day, and I'm taking part in that today. Well, yesterday's was post a time lapse, and I did a time lapse of me making this. So yeah, anyway, thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.